Hello students, this is Lipsa Miss and today we will discuss The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1. This scene takes place on a street in Venice. And this Act 1, Scene 1, it is the opening scene, and this scene gives the readers the introductory information about the play. Shakespeare opens the play in the middle of a conversation, and this technique is used to capture the attention of the audience. Antonio, the famous merchant, is in a melancholy, that is a sad mood, and his friends suggest different causes for his sadness. All the suggestions are rejected. Bassanio discloses his difficulty to Antonio that he needs money in order to be able to go to Belmont and take part in the suit. Antonio says that he has invested all his money on the sea, but advises Bassanio to take loan from a moneylender using his good name as credit. That is, he would be the surety. So, this is all about this Act 1, Scene 1. Now, let us read what Antonio said line by line, and then I'll explain. Antonio, in sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me. You say it wearies you. But how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it is made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. And such a want-wit sadness makes of me, that I have much ado to know myself. Antonio is saying, because he is in a sad mood, and he is saying, in sooth, truly, I do not know why I am so sad. It wearies me, that is, it tires me. It makes me feel tired. You say it tires you, it wearies you, that is, it tires you. But how I caught it, that is, how I acquired it, found it, and or came by it, how I got it, how I acquired it, how I found it, or how I got it. What stuff tea is made of? Tea, that is, it is. Whereof it is born, I am to learn. What stuff it is made of? What is its nature? What it consists of? That is, what stuff? Whereof it is born? How it originated? I am to learn. I am yet to learn this. What its nature is and from where it originated, I am yet to learn. And such a want-wit sadness makes of me. This sadness has made me a dull fellow. Want-wit, dull fellow. Wit, a person who doesn't have this wit, knowledge. Want, that is lacking. So he becomes a fool. So a dull fellow. Such a dull fellow. This sadness makes me that I have much ado to know myself, that I find it difficult. I have much ado, that is, I have much difficulty to know what I really am, what I am really. So understood this one? Antonio is saying that he is in a sad mood, but he doesn't know what is the reason, how he got this sadness, from where he got it. And that sadness has made him a dull fellow, and so dull that he is not able to know what really he is. This is what Antonio said. Now his friends are there. Salarino is there. Salenio is there. So Salarino is suggesting the reason. This may be the reason why you are sad. So what Salerno says? He says, your mind is tossing on the ocean, there where your argosies with portly sail, like Cygnus and rich burghers on the flood, or as it were the pageants of the sea, do overpeer the petty traffickers, that courtesy to them do them reverence as they fly by them with their woven wings. Salerno is saying, your mind is tossing on the ocean. Your mind is at the sea. Because there your argosies, your ships are there. Actually, Argosy means actually it was a ship built by Argus for Jason, mythological character, and we'll be discussing this later. So, a big ship is referred to as Argosy. So, but here Argosy is, the meaning is your ships. There, where your argosies with portly sail, they are sailing majestically. Portly, stately, majestically, they are sailing. Because your mind is there on the ocean where your ships are there. Like Cygnus and rich burghers. That is, gentlemen, rich gentlemen and respectable citizens. Cygnus and burghers. A respectable citizen, a citizen having a high rank, an Italian citizen is known as Cygnio. Similarly, burghers, that is rich gentlemen. Now this on the flood, that is here. You will read it like this. Where your argosies with portly sail on the flood. So now see, you have to understand it like this. Your mind is tossing in the ocean. There, where your argosies with portly sail on the flood, as it were the pageants of the sea. They are sailing on the sea gorgeously, just like gorgeously decorated processions. Pageants, that is processions on the sea. Just as your ships are, just like gorgeously decorated processions, do overpeer the petty traffickers. Overpeer, look down on. They are the grand ships sailing on the sea. They are looking down on the petty, just ordinary small traffickers, small boats. Your big ships are sailing and they are looking from a height, looking down on the small boats. That courtesy to them, that show respect to them. The small boats show respect, courtesy. Do them reverence. They pay them respect. They bow down. That courtesy to them. It is used as a verb. They bow down. They show respect. That is, they do them reverence as they fly by them with their woven wings. These small boats bow down, pay respect to them as they move fast with their woven wings. Woven wings, that is canvas sails. Those small boats. And they are, your ships are just like the Cygnus, the rich people, the rich gentlemen. Just as, see, here the ships of Antonio have been compared with the gentlemen, the respectable citizens of Italy, of Venice, as they walk on the road and they look down on the petty traffickers, ordinary people. Here petty traffickers, when we compare with these ships, they are the small boats, and when we talk of the Cygnus and rich burghers, they are the ordinary or the poor citizens. As these Cygnus, these burghers walk on the road, these ordinary people bow down. They show respect to these respectable citizens. Just like that, your ships get respect from this small woven wings, from these small boats. Now understood? This is what Salerno said. Now Salerno has his reasons. He is saying why you are sad. Believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, the better part of my affections would be with my hopes abroad. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind, peering in maps for ports and piers and roads, and every object that might make me fear misfortune to my ventures, out of doubt, would make me sad. Salerno is saying, believe me, sir, if I had such venture, that is, if I had such business operations abroad, forth is abroad, the better part of my affections, Better means the greater. The greater part of my thought would be with my hopes abroad. My thought would be with my hopes, with my ships. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind. I would be plucking the grass to see in which direction the wind is blowing from the movement of the grass. I would be knowing in which direction the wind is blowing, whether it is favorable for my ships or not. Peering in maps for ports and piers and roads, I would be closely looking at the maps for ports to know where the next port is, where the ports are. And the piers, actually pier is a long structure built into the sea, and it serves as a landing stage. So I would be looking for the ports, the piers and the roads. Why? Because for the safe anchorage of my ships. And every object that might make me fear misfortune to my ventures, out of doubt would make me sad. That is, every object that might pose a danger, a disaster or a threat to my ships would fill me with fear. Every object that would pose a danger to my ship would fill me with fear, and out of doubt would make me sad. So what does it mean? It means no doubt that would make me sad. That very thought of those fear would make me sad. Salarino. Next, again Salarino is saying, my wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ague when I thought what harm a wind too great at sea might do. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. Salarino says, my wind cooling my broth. When I blow upon my soup to make it cold, I tremble with fever. See, ague is actually shake with fever. It is a fever it's a fever when one with shivering. So here ague means shake with fear. My wind broth is soup. SOUP soup. My wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ague. When I blow upon my soup to make it cold, I tremble with fear. I tremble with fever to think of the damage a strong wind might do on the sea. If my wind can cool the broth, then what damage a strong wind can cause to the ship? What harm a wind too great at sea might do? This is his fear. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats. If had my ships been on the seas, this would have been my condition. This is second. What is that? I should not see the sandy hourglass run. That is, the sight of the sand running out from the hourglass. Hourglass you must have seen, that filled with sand. So I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and flats. Whenever I see the sandy hourglass, I think of the shallow water, shallow that is not deep, and if the land is shallow, the ship cannot move ahead. Flat lands, similarly. If I see the sandy hourglass, if I see the sand running out from the hourglass, it makes me think of the shallows and flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. Andrew actually in 1596, the English captured a Spanish ship named Andrea, and when it was being brought to England, it ran aground. That is, it hit a coast and got stuck there. And in Shakespeare's time, big ships A big ship was known as Andrew, referred to as Andrew, and this Andrew was a Spanish ship. So here he is saying Andrew means his ship. And see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. He would visualize that his ship has been docked, has run aground. Understood? He would think of that. Next, veiling her high top lower than her ribs, to kiss her burial, should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight up dangerous rocks, which, touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream. Now this is this veiling her high top lower than her ribs. This is in continuation of this previous line. That is, see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. What would happen? What he would visualize, that his ship is docked and veiling her high top. That is lowering. Veiling is lowering. Lowering her high top lower than her ribs. Ribs is the wooden or the iron framework of a ship. The main that is the high top. The main mast is lower than the wooden or the iron framework, and the ship would kiss her burial. That is, the ship would be in such a condition that it would seem as if the highest pole is trying to kiss the sands that surround her burial. That is the sand. Sand where it will be buried. That is the burial. Now next, what else he thinks? He thinks that should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone? When if I go to the church and see the holy building of stone, whenever I see the building of stone, edifice building of stone, and not bethink me. Bethink me, I think. Whenever I visit a church, I think of immediately. Straight means immediately. Immediately I think of the dangerous rocks, which touching but my gentle vessel's side. So what is saying? If he sees this holy edifice, he would immediately think of the dangerous rocks. If these rocks even gently touch his vessels, what damage would be caused? He thinks of that. What would happen? It would scatter all her spices, the spices carried by the ships. All the spices will be thrown on the stream. They will be scattered there. And enrobe the roaring waters with my silks. Enrobe, that is cloth, cover. All the spices will be on the seas, and enrobe the roaring waters with my silk. And his ships also carry silks. So if the dangerous rocks strike the vessel, that the ships even gently, then what would happen? All the spices would scatter and all his silks would cover the roaring waters, the roaring seas. And in a word, in short, but even now worth this and now worth nothing. In short, now it would reduce me from worth this and now worth nothing. And now I am worthy of all these things, and next moment worth nothing. Shall I have the thought to think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing bechanced would make me sad? If I can think of this means the damage that would be caused to my ships. And if I can think of the damage, shall I lack the thought that such a thing, if such a thing happens, what sadness would be caused to me? If I can think of the danger danger and the damage that would be caused to my ship, can I not think of the sadness that would be caused to me because of the damage? But tell not me, it is no good denying this. I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. Now there is no denying the fact. It is no good denying this. That is his sure. I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. Antonio is sad because he is thinking of his merchandise. That is his merchant ship. Now, Antonio replies whether he agrees to what they say or not. Antonio is saying, believe me, no, I thank my fortune for it. Believe me. Antonio is saying, believe me, it is not true. I thank my fortune, that is, I thank my wealth and fate for it. My ventures are not in one but entrusted. That is, my business is not dependent on one bottom, that is one ship, not to one place, nor is my whole estate, that is financial position, upon the fortune of this present year. Fortune, that is a financial success. So he is saying, I am thankful to my wealth and my fate, that my business is not dependent upon one boat, that is one ship, not to one place, nor my whole financial position is dependent upon the financial success of current year, present year. Therefore, my merchandise makes me not sad. So, my fortune doesn't depend upon my ships. So, my merchandise makes me not sad. I am not sad because of my merchant ships. They are not going to affect me. Salarino, why? Then you are in love. Antonio, 5. He says, what nonsense is this? Salarino, not in love neither. Then let us say you are sad. So you are not in love either. Then we are saying that you are sad because you are not merry, you are not happy. And that is, it were as easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you are not sad. It will be very easy for you to laugh and jump. Leap is jump. So if you are not sad, it is very easy for you to laugh and jump and say that you are happy. Because you are not sad, you are saying that you are not sad. So it is very easy for you to jump and laugh and say that you are happy because you are not sad. Now by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellows in her time. Now he is saying, Salarino, I swear by the name of Janus. Who is Janus? Janus, that is a Roman god with two heads and always placed above doorways. One looks back and the other ahead. So Salarino speaks of two kinds of men, two-headed Janus. Now, by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellows in her time. Since nature has created human beings, he has created two types of people. Some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper. So, two types. First are of the kind, and that is they will peep through with half open eyes. Their eyes will be half closed or half open, and they will look through their eyes half closed and laugh like parrots even at a bagpiper. Bagpiper, those who play the musical instrument bagpipe. Bagpipe, you must be knowing, a musical instrument consisting of a bag and several pipes coming out of it, and the sound is produced by blowing air through one of the pipes. So even at the sight of the bagpipers, they would laugh like parrots. And the other kind, other of such vinegar aspect, that is, other type of people are sad and they have a sad and bitter look. One always laughs and other always have a bitter look, sad look, that they will not show their teeth in way of smile. They will never show their smile. The first type will always be laughing, but the second type having a vinegar, that is a bitter look, will never laugh, will never smile, will never show their teeth. Although Nestor swear the jest be laughable, even at a joke, listening to which Nestor would laugh. Who is Nestor? The meaning is given here. Nestor, an old and wise Greek general who fought in the Trojan War. A joke had to be extremely funny if Nestor laughed at it. Even if Nestor laughed, these people would not laugh.